Welcome back to my channel, dolls. We're going to be making a video on how to make a wig once again. This is a frontal. It is a 13 by 4 lace frontal in the length 16 inches. As you can see, it's over bleached, but we'll get into that in a moment. First, we're going to choose our cap. You can use a mesh dome cap or a spandex cap. In my last video, I used the mesh. Today, we're going to use the spandex. And this is what the spandex looks like. This is a wig cap that is going to allow you to have an elastic band as well. So when you apply your frontal to the cap, just pull it basically in front of the cap just enough so that your baby hair is in front of the cap, if that makes any sense. You're going to secure with the T-pin in the front, and then you're going to secure with the T-pin in the back, and then you're going to secure it on each side. So in total, you'll have at least 4 different T-pins. You start with the one in the front because it helps you to measure how far in the front it's going to come. You kind of pull that taut in the back in the very center, and that's going to help you to pretty much find your guide of how far it's going to come back. And then you measure each side. Right there is a ribbon, that little piece that I was showing you. You kind of want to make sure that your ribbons meet the end of the track really nicely, and that once you are done securing the frontal onto the cap, everything just lays flush. Also, I find that whenever it makes this little M or whatever you want to call it, it pretty much is, if it doesn't make that M, it's not going to fit me right. It's going to fit too little. The frontal's not going to lay flat. It's going to be crazy. So every time I secure my wig onto my frontal onto a wig cap, I always make sure that it has that M going. And if it doesn't, I start all over. Now our next step is going to be to sew the frontal to the cap. That way it will not remove, move, slide, or anything from the cap. I have done other methods such as the glue to secure the frontal to my cap, and honestly this is the only method that I recommend. If you glue your frontal or your closures down, there's no telling if or when it'll lift. It's inevitable that it will, but you just don't know. You'll be out in public and out there, not having it. So if you want to use it as practice, you can glue it down, but always go back and sew it like within a day or two, or girl, I don't know what to tell you. So I'm showing you how I sew all the way across. I'm not doing any special method. I am using nylon thread, which is my favorite. I do find that when people first use nylon, including myself, it is a little bit tough to work with. You kind of feel like, wait, what? But it ultimately is the best option. It makes the wig lay flatter. It's a nicer, quality thread, and it doesn't knot up on you the way the regular thread does, in my opinion. I've tried to go back to the other one. I believe it's like polyester or something like that. I've tried to go back to that one, and I was like, oh no, I have to go back to Sally's and get me another one. So you can see as I sew the frontal down, it just laid super flat. And here are my 3 bundles. I'm going to be using this glue from Proclaim. And you're going to see the exact difference between doing the Quickweave method using the Proclaim or the 30-second glue and using the hot glue. And this is kind of going to give you an idea of what to expect with either. So with the Proclaim glue, I applied it directly to the cap. I allowed it to get tacky for maybe about 15 seconds, and then I went ahead and immediately secured my bundle on top of it. I took my blow dryer on a cool setting, and I just kind of allowed it to dry without touching it until I felt it was dry or tacky enough. And then I went and repressed it in for a second time just to make sure that it's as secure as I can possibly get it. And then I cut off the excess track. Now you see here I'm tugging on it to show you guys that once it's dry, and it's, basically once it's dry, it's not moving, and it definitely works out. But I'm going to show you how it works for a couple more tracks before we go on, and I show you how the hot glue works. That way you can kind of see clearly in one video which option is the best. I've done I've done both options, and I've also sewn, and to be honest, it's all about preference. So here we are. This time around, I went ahead and decided it would be best to apply the glue directly to the track. You see immediately, even though I allowed the track to get tacky, it still fell off instantly. And even then, I felt like it was sliding, which made me kind of nervous. But all in all, I just, applied it, let it air dry on its own, and it's now very secure and tacky. So we're going to do it a couple more times, and like I said, we're going to get into the hot glue. That way you can see for yourself. So allow it to get tacky once you apply the glue to your track. The track should, air dry for maybe about 15 seconds, and then go ahead and lay it on your cap. Now, I don't know if you're looking close enough, but if you pay attention, you can see it just slides and glides and moves like crazy. But once it's dry, that sucker's on there. You see, and I kind of gave it an even harder tug this time, so you know I'm not trying to finesse you guys. It's really, really, really drying on there very well. Now, one thing I can say, the difference between this glue that I'm using and like a hot glue is I would never recommend that you get your cap wet when you apply this glue. I feel like if you get any oil on your cap, or where the tracks are, if you get any shampoo, especially any conditioner or oil, your tracks will slide off and come up easy. You see how it's very tacky and it's tight, but like I said, if you wash it, the tracks will almost instantly begin to lift. Not all of them, but like you will start to feel like your wig is never going to be the same again. Whereas now we're going to try the hot glue gun method, and I find that over and over and over again I've used this method. This seems to be my happy medium because I'm able to wash my wig. It's still a quick weave and the track still will eventually come up, but I feel like the wig will last longer. Whenever I want a wig or a weave that is just super quick, I kind of make it on my head with the first option, which was the 30-second glue by Proclaim. And that's kind of like I need a wig done in like 30 minutes stat, and I'll just do that super duper duper quick so I can go somewhere for an event or whatever. If I want any other wig for a day-to-day purpose, I usually will do hot glue just because I can still get this one done in 30 to 45 minutes. But again, I go ahead and I sew down my frontal or my closure, so it does take a little bit longer, and I kind of press it in, so it just takes a little bit longer than the first option, but it's still a great option. Also with the hot glue gun method, I do find that I am able to wash the wig. I've mentioned this in the past, but I've actually dyed wigs, like bleached them, toned them, did a whole little situation. I've actually have a video on my channel where I dyed some hair. It's like a honey blonde. I think I mentioned this in my last video, but the very last video on my channel where I actually dyed hair, I think I had like a purple shirt and the hair was like multi-dimensional, honey browns. That one was a hot glue gun wig, and I show you in the video that I actually, go in and bleach almost the entire wig. I rinse out all that bleach. I, shampoo and deep condition it. I think I even went back and toned that wig. So, and it held up. Nothing, none of the tracks came apart from the cap or anything like that. So this is the next best thing to sewing a wig. Now, obviously, if you want to keep a wig for months and months and months, you should sew. I definitely will do a video on how I sew on this channel. I mean, it's the same concept, essentially how you lay the tracks in the direction that you want to go and how you sew your frontal. But, of course, when you sew, it is different than using hot glue because you're actually sewing, and sometimes people want to see the technique because I kind of do the loop and pull, and sometimes I'll double the wefts. So if you guys want to see those types of videos, let me know. I've kind of been on a how to make a wig series here on my channel these last few uploads. So I'll do a tutorial on how I sew a lace frontal wig. I'll do a video on how I double the wefts when I sew a lace frontal wig. All these different things, because I know different people have different options. And like if I do a video on how I sew the wig, people will be like, well, can you show us how you double the wefts and so forth and so on. Kind of giving you a rundown and kind of just explaining everything while I apply the bundles, because you guys have seen me do this before. So check my previous video if you want to see like me actually talk it through. But you guys can see I measure out how much of the bundle I'm going to need. I cut off that piece that I need. I go ahead and apply the hot glue halfway around on the track. I lay that down and press it in. Once I feel like that is secure, I go in and I apply the glue to the remainder of, that section, and then I use the back of my nail to press it in so that it really, really, really attaches to the cap, and the glue and the cap and the bundle all kind of marry together, so to speak. So yesterday when I did a tutorial similar to this, I stopped a little bit down below, like how I'm going around in this U shape at this point. I kind of stopped at a certain point and I kind of went straight across. I'm going to take it up a little bit further, almost till I can't anymore, and it starts to simply like buckle in a way. And that way, it makes it to where the tracks are a little bit more seamless when you have that demarcation of where the frontal starts and the tracks are, because you definitely don't want to see tracks. So make sure that after you make your wig, you train, like a section of the hair on the frontal to go backwards or in the direction of the tracks. That way it kind of will keep or prevent that demarcation, because you don't want people to be able to see your tracks. So now we're almost at the very, very, very top. At this point, typically I would start going across opposed to in a U shape with my tracks, but I decided to take it up a little bit further this time around. And that's the thing about it, if you find a method that works exactly perfect for you, stick to that. Don't try nothing else, unless you just have the time or the energy. But, it is also still good to experiment. So if you're someone who makes a wig like once every blue moon, twice a year, something like that, I would recommend finding a technique you like and kind of sticking to it and kind of tweaking it here and there. But, essentially don't do a dramatic change if your wigs are coming out flawless already, if that makes any sense. But like me, you guys see, I experiment with a lot of hair, so I like doing it a little bit different every time. And even when I find like a holy grail way that works, I still like to just try different things and different techniques, just because that's what I'm here for, to teach you guys, and how can I teach you guys if I don't, try every single way there is. So another option is, at this, or before you even start your wig, put that mesh dome cap or whatever type of cap you are gonna wear on your head, and then use like a white like a pencil or something like that, and kind of draw it out like around your ear, so you can kind of see, like mark like where your ear is on the cap, where your forehead starts on the cap, where the center of your head is on the cap. That way, when you put the wig on the mannequin head, you kind of have a blueprint of the, dimensions, or like where everything is on your head. So as you're making your wig, you can kind of see an eyeball, how everything goes. I'll start doing that in future tutorials, because that may be helpful as far as laying everything out. Now I just added a little bit of my Topic. Typically I don't do this because it is a little bit of a matte color. Topic is basically a hair fiber that makes it kind of fills in the hair to a black color. As you kind of see, it's kind of matte and powdery, so it really doesn't go. Instead, I would use a black hairspray, but I keep forgetting to get one from Sally's. I'll link one down below. I like to just add that black hairspray in order to help me to conceal that line of demarcation in case the wind blows or anything like that. But it's definitely not a necessary step, as long as you train some of the hair, like a little piece of the hair that goes over to cover the tracks. As long as that piece of hair like is trained to cover all the tracks, you won't have any problem. So at this point, I just kind of wet the wig down. I did not co-wash the hair, but I kind of wanted to brush it out and pull out all the flyaway hairs and make sure it's detangled really, really, really good. I kind of just wet it down with a nice, good spray bottle and gave it a good, moisture bath. And then I added some, what did I use? Foam lotion. And then whenever I wet it, it did kind of lose a little bit of the body wave texture. So I did have to kind of scrunch it in order to kind of revive it and give it a little bit of life. Nonetheless, it is a nice, healthy, natural brown, dark, 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 dark brown color. It has a great shine to it. So even though it's not like extremely wavy, it still looks good in its natural state. But of course, if you want more body, you can go ahead and, wand curl it. If you want curls or straight, you can do whatever you want to this hair. So as you see, I cut off the excess cap underneath the lace, and I used that, and I kind of just trimmed off the excess, and I can use that as an elastic band. I'll leave my tutorial on how I do the elastic band method down below, and that's just a glueless way of being able to apply your wigs. Now you see how when I put my wig on the mannequin head, it fits my mannequin head like a glove. This head is 21 inches, which is the exact size of my head. So seeing that the wig kind of slides on and it fits like a glove is a perfect indicator that this wig is going to fit my head amazingly. I'm able to do a high ponytail, a high bun with this wig because it fits my head and it doesn't slide off, it doesn't move in the back or lift. And that is ideally what you want, is a wig that fits your head perfectly. That way you can do any and every style and manageable, without, having to worry about the wig, you know, essentially being too big. So I did lightly pluck and tweeze the hairline. I didn't do too much because I did over bleach the knots by using a 40 volume developer and leaving it on, I think, about 25 minutes. It did over process the frontal. I can go back after the fact and add just a little bit of powder throughout the party like I would anyways, and that's going to make it look normal. I wish I would have done it in the video to show you guys that it will cover this up and you won't have the issue of the hairline looking too orange. But you know, it's the name of the game. I messed up. So from here on out, I'll recommend that you only use a 30 volume. Never use a 40. It's too high because this has been happening to me often lately. And yeah, it's all about trial and error. So I'm going to just take and make the baby hair. And usually you can put mousse to help to train the hair to go in the opposite direction of the rest of the hair. That way it'll naturally just fall that way, so that whenever you want to have baby hair, and even if you don't apply like edge control, it'll still go in the direction of baby hair, or how baby hair is supposed to go. So I took a bit of an edge control. I'll have this one linked down below. This is currently the one I'm loving. I kind of put a little bit too much. Usually I just use a light amount, but the way things are going, it just is in the way. So I kind of started to form the baby hair, but I should have just waited until I cut the lace off, because essentially I had to move the baby hairs in order to cut the lace, which you guys have seen me do this before, where I make the baby hair with the hairs or the excess lace still attached, and I still was able to cut the cut the lace off without moving it. But I kind of just I didn't want to go around the lace or the baby hair. I wanted to go straight across a little bit more and not like have to just go specifically around, because sometimes I don't like the way that looks. As you guys can see, there is a small tear in my lace. Luckily, I accidentally teared it being careless before I even started this video. Luckily, I didn't tear it behind like the parting, or you know, where the hair actually starts. So this wig fits like a glove. I don't know if you guys were able to see how I pried it on, but its sucker is tight without any blonde glue. And in the back, forgive my kitchen, but you guys can see back here, once I tuck it down, it fits exactly how it's supposed to fit. So now I'm going to go ahead and style it. But the hair stuff is gorgeous. I love the way it sits. This is one of those wigs. It's not going to shift. It's not going to move. Only thing that's going to move is your tab right here. And if you don't want this to move, just kind of cut it back kind of behind the hairline. But I kind of like the way it looks. So I don't want to completely butcher the hairline, because I think I might want to bond it down, because I actually like this wig. You guys did see that. I love the way this looks. I kind of just want to wear it straight back, but I think I'm going to do a center part. Go figure. Or do I want to just put it up? But there is a huge giveaway going on my channel. I'll have the details on the giveaway in the description bar down below. Make sure that you check out Dola Hair. Make sure you check out Dola Hair. This hair was definitely a pleasure to work with. As far as the body wave texture, I feel like if you really want it to be super wavy, go ahead and use your diffuser. But like most body wave texture, once you wet it, it's not the same as like before you wet it. This is what it looks like in its natural state. And then once you put a little bit of water and conditioner, it kind of loosens up just a little bit. So if you really want some tight curls, I would suggest using a wand curler for some little cute beach waves, or just not really wetting it all and just kind of putting like a little bit of a serum to keep it in that normal natural state. But yeah, don't have any complaints about this hair. My only issue is that I did over bleach my frontal, but I think it still looks pretty good. If it's too orange for you, just go ahead and put like a more neutral powder in the parting, or just use your regular foundation powder and it will cancel that out just a little bit and calm it down. But yeah, don't have any complaints. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.